For us?
For you. And our baby.
Hi, I'm Priyanka Tripathi and I teach in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, IIT Patna. The British Indian diaspora in London comprises approximately 0.6 million or 6.6% of the total population, forming the largest ethno-national group in the UK. However, this celebrated space of diaspora transforms into a fertile swamp spawning domestic violence. The conjugal union between members of an Indian diaspora and its homeland bears witness to different kinds of violence: physical, sexual, economic, psychological, and cultural exploitation of women under the pretext of sham marriage. The project is an inquisition into the spectrum of arranged marriage and subsequent spousal violence in the British Asian diasporic space, fused with patriarchy and the reverie of London as a panacea for all struggles. Select films: Provoked 2006, Namaste London 2007, Cocktail 2012, and Queen 2013 reflect upon women negotiating their identity and agency in the British diaspora, where they have primarily travelled on a dependent visa. Based on the case of Regina versus Ahluwalia 1992, Provoked is a filmic representation of Kiranjit Ahluwalia's autobiography, The Circle of Light, published in 1997. Aishwarya Rai, in the lead role of Kiranjit, sets fire on her abusive husband Deepak, eventually causing him death. This leads to her imprisonment and subsequent alteration of British law, redefining provocation defence and the acceptance of battered woman syndrome as a legal state of mind in accordance with defendants who have suffered extended physical abuse at the hands of a spouse. The depiction of cultural dissonance in Namaste London through the characters of Manmohan Malhotra, played by Rishi Kapoor, and his real wife, Bebo Malhotra, underlines how the aspiration to be a first world citizen is a never-ending effort for the Indian diaspora. Spaces of everyday banalities concerning food, attire, habits, linguistic competence become potent ambits for inflicting violence upon Indian women. Cocktail is an iconic representation of sham marriage where Meera, played by Diana Penty, gets tricked into marrying a man who apparently cons her for money and plays upon her aspiration to settle abroad. When she travels to London for uniting with her husband, Meera is slammed down, owing to the third world ideological construct of conjugal communion that does not necessarily converge on the grounds of legality. Queen is an iconoclastic representation of how third world women is apparently perceived as conservative, weak and vulnerable in the diasporic space, and how she reinvents the same space to establish her agency in a way that is beyond the oriental discernment. Kangana Ranaut as Rani in the film is abandoned by her fiancé, settled in London on account of his newly acquired sense of cultural and financial superiority. Deserted, dejected and devastated, Rani's response is totally nonconformist. From going on a honeymoon on her own to sharing her room with 3 male roommates, Rani responds to an otherwise victim position in a way that renders the diasporic space liberating rather than constricting. The select cinematic works can be coupled into 2 chronological segments that are from 2006 to 2007 and 2012 to 2013. This conscious segregation allows to identify the diasporic space both as confining and liberating respectively. Coincidentally, all the films are set in London and subversively reflect a toxic dream of being settled in a foreign land at the expense of the self. No matter what, the London dream continues. Thank you.
तू कंटी बिग बैन दी पूरा लंडे